Kia ora everyone, welcome to the Unable Semen podcast, the podcast designed to take a light-hearted look at all things boating and fishing in New Zealand. I'm your host, Jake Kerr, and joining me once again is my first mate and best mate, Christian Jensen. G'day mate, how are ya?
Not bad. I feel so lucky to be your favourite person that you call up on for these podcasts.
Yeah, well, I don't have any other friends to call upon, so...
Or to put up with your crap.
Pretty much, so I'm stuck with you. Yet again,
Okay,
we've had
cool.
about half an hour's worth of shagging around trying to get everything working again.
Yeah.
But we're here.
Yeah, I was a bit late.
Our audio issues are fixed. So if you listen to episode 2, apologies, it was a little bit messy with the audio. The problem is we record this, don't we, bro? And then we find out the audio is not good. So hopefully this one's going to be much better. How are you anyway? What's been happening boating and fishing wise with you?
Oh, you're going to be a little bit jealous. I've just come back from 3 days at Durville. Whoo! It was beautiful.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I want a full run through on that.
Oh, you do? Okay. Is that later
wait,
on,
in a minute. Not yet. Hang on.
Okay.
We'll get into a couple of things because we've got a few things to cover off. Bit of admin first. First of all, thank you everyone who has followed us on Instagram at Unable Semen, and the things we're going to talk about today will be posted there. So if we're talking about a particular boat or jig or anything like that, visit that platform to have a look. We've got a YouTube channel now too, bro.
They're going to be seeing us and hearing us.
Seeing us and hearing us. So you can put faces to our sort of dulcet, smooth tones.
I don't know if that's going to actually.
No, they might go, who's the annoying high-pitched one? And we have
the nasally one.
Who's the nasally? So we made this YouTube channel yesterday, and so far we've had one listener on our YouTube channel. So, and that's totally unprompted. So thank you to that one person, and you're about to get another episode to join that. Our plan with the YouTube is, as we've just mentioned, to upload the podcast video and audio, obviously, and to also make one video a month with some sort of fishing or boating related content. I've bought a cool thing called an Osmo, which is going to help me with my filming, and it's just another way of connecting with you guys and giving you a visual component so that you can see us out and about on the water, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Of course, another quick thank you to the 151 people who have listened to our last 2 episodes. Epic. That is about 150 more than I thought we're going to ever listen to it. So thank you so much for the people who have put your ears up for punishment. Anyway, bro, now I want to hear about this Durville mission.
Oh, man.
Tell me about it. Tell me.
So I was invited a wee while ago to go on a fishing trip with some old uni mates, the old Cantabs from down there in Christchurch. They were going to bring up their tin can, bring it up to Durville Island, and I was going to join them. And then I found out my spot on the boat was double booked. And so I said, bugger. Looks like I'm not going fishing. And then I thought, nah, I'll drag my own boat across on the ferry. And so
from Wellington to Picton, of course, just to give our listeners that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, from Wellington to Picton. So I took the 2 a.m. ferry. Pretty long day leading up to that. Yeah, punishing. And towed Mrs. Cormer, which is my 1970s-esque sea nymph, across over on the Inter-Islander. And got to Durville. We drove to Durville. And Jesus, it's a long drive, eh?
So you're going all the way to French Pass, aren't you, for that?
Yeah, exactly. It's about 2 to 2.5 hour drive from Picton. We land, and then you tow it around to your French Pass, and so you turn off just after Rye Valley, halfway along with Nelson.
And so you went there in July, so just before our second wave of lockdown, which unfortunately we are currently in at the moment. Now, we've been there in July, you and I, before, and just a bit of a story. I'm going to jump in here quickly. Christian bought a boat. Well, he paid for it. I, unfortunately, was the one who had to go and look at this boat before he bought it, and I had to give the A-OK. And this guy had just done up this boat, and it looked all good. He'd fiberglassed in the right areas and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And we said, yep. So maiden voyage, took it to Durville Island
Of course you would, eh?
in July, yes. And as we were coming back in, we noticed that the hull and floor was sort of flexing independently,
rolling over the
rolling.
swell.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you've decided to go back in July. Luckily, on a boat that's slightly better made now.
Yeah.
What were you
Yeah.
targeting up there, and run us through some of the highlights?
The infamous greenback, big kingfish.
Oh yes, woohoo!
Yeah, and there's like certain tides, incoming tide or whatever it is, that apparently pushes those big kingies and bait balls up against the one of the shelves, and then in the other tide you chase the big snapper in like 80, 100 meters of water with slow jigs.
Awesome,
Yeah,
something on the
yeah.
slow jig. What sort of jigs were you using there?
So I had a new set. I had a catch 150 spin set for vertical jigging, which
Nice.
beautiful. I didn't catch any kingfish the whole trip, but we
Sounds like
did
our
get.
last trip.
Yeah, it was like our last trip. Yeah, but we did get the usual like oodles of blue cod that you just big suckers, 50 centimeters long.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, no carwai this time, which I thought was odd. But we did get 2 big snapper on our first trip because obviously it's weather dependent, and so we got to French Pass. It was 11 o'clock in the morning, and we were like, right, let's go along today. And so we pushed the boats in and bombed straight out to Stephen's Passage, which is quite a way out actually. I forgot how long it was to get out there, man. It's 35 kilometers from French Pass to Stephen's Passage.
So the listeners out there who are sort of thinking of doing a trip like this, this is sort of the theme of today's podcast is sort of dream trips, and we're going to talk about a few things
This
later.
is right up there, eh?
But yeah, so tell the listeners what you need to sort of be thinking about for a trip to D'Urville Island. Obviously, we've talked about getting to French Pass, which is a real headache. Now you've talked about from French Pass itself, where you launch to the top of the island, which was called, you just said the name, sorry?
Stephen's Passage.
Stephen's Passage.
Yeah, which is between Stephen's Island, which is a very small island at the tip. I think it's actually got the largest population of tuatara in New Zealand on it.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. And it sits just off D'Urville Island.
Nice. And that's where those kingies seem to be. I mean, that's obviously where we went last time, but just give us a run through of.
I'm happy to give you the spots that don't work. If they get
Process of elimination. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll put a map of where Christian went and go anywhere else to get fish. Yeah.
Yeah, but basically, no, I can't remember which tides, but basically they say one tide when it comes from, say, Wellington and pushes, northeast, southwest over to Nelson, that pushes the current in and slams against Stephen's Passage from right to left if you're looking at a map. And that's the best time to get the kingies, apparently.
Okay.
The real steep banks, they're coming up from like 80, 100 meters really, really quickly up to like 20 meters. And so you jig these banks basically and do zigzags across them. And then when the tide's going the other way in that area, you go and chase the snapper over on the other side of the island, apparently.
Nice. Which is sort of the ultimate, what makes it the ultimate mission, really, because, I've done jigging at places like the Aldermans and stuff like that before, and Mare Island, and it is a fantastic day when the kingies are on, but it's a bloody long way to go if the kingies aren't on the chew. So having somewhere like D'Urville Island, I think, makes it such an ultimate destination because you can chop and change between the two depending on the tides or whatever you might be targeting. Hey, look, we're going to do a bit of a focus on gear today. Give us a run through about some of the rods and setup. I know you've got some bloody nice gear. Certainly look after it better than I do. Tell the listeners what you were running up there.
Oh man, well, because there was going to be 2 of us on the boat, and if you imagine a little, 4.5 meter fiberglass thing, where we had 4 tote tanks in the boat. So 38 Ks, I'm doing roughly, somewhere between 1.5 and 2 Ks a litre. It's an old 2-stroke. We didn't need to take a lot of fuel out. So we were taking basically 100 litres with us. And so I didn't have a lot of room left over. And I think I had 1 soft bait rod. Joan took 4 rods over the whole trip, man. So 1 soft bait rod, 2 jigging rods, are both spin style. One was a 250 to 350 gram. What was it? An Akuma Nano Matrix, I think it's called. Is that right?
Beautiful. Yeah,
something like that. Nice. Yes. And then the catch 150 spin style, which that is my favorite rod at the moment. Oh my god, it's beautiful. It's just like it just buckles over when it loads up, and there's no weight in your hands, and it just the way it works when you're flicking those lures is just delicious.
Oh, nice. And run us
Yeah,
through.
man.
So you what were you running for the kingies? You were running 400-gram
Those
jigs.
two, yeah. So we had so the two setups. One was running 150. I had a couple of 150-gram jigs right up to 200 and I think they were 230 grams for the smaller jig set.
Yeah.
Just because I was like, oh, I didn't want to just get hurt from using half kilo jigs all day. It's pretty tiring.
Too right it is. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Because you remember my old set that was just a beast, and it hurt swinging 400-gram jigs around all day.
Well, unfortunately,
Yeah.
I still have an old beast. So I've actually got a Shimano Torsa, which is a great reel, but it's
The
not
tosser.
exactly lightweight, the Tosser.
Nah.
And compared to some of the beautiful lightweight things that are around now, as you say, you cannot jig all day with them. We certainly can't jig back-to-back days in a competition or anything like that because you are shagged by the end of the day.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. It's interesting. You walk into a tackle shop and you look at all the reels there, and you sort of think, where is it going? And you can see them getting smaller and using higher grade composites and stuff. And it makes a difference in those times, those big days on the water where you're swinging lead, and sure, the old stuff will do the damage, and people go, oh, my TLD 25 from 1910 will do it. Well, yes, it will, but try do it 10 times.
Yeah.
So
if you're jigging all day and you've paid good money to be on a charter or something, you're gonna make most of it, eh?
Too right, you do. Too right. And so that sort of brings me on to my next mission. If we can move that, I can do a bit of speaking. You've done a lot of talking in this podcast, so people are going to go, "Oh, you're the talker."
They might say I'm the host, or something.
Yeah, I
one
might think
day.
you're the
Go, oh, who's
host.
that
Yeah,
guy?
co-host.
Co-host.
To my next upcoming mission, which is up to the beautiful Opedo Bay in Coromandel, and I am going to be using glow bites. Glow bite. Well, you can come up, mate. If you come up, you're more than welcome. I'm with my father-in-law, who's Grant. I hope he doesn't mind me dropping his name there, but he has become a bit of a glow bite ambassador. So we met him at the boat show. This guy, I can't remember the name of the guy who brings the glow bites in, but Grant said, hey, look, I'll take a couple of your lures. And Grant, who was a very good fisherman, I'll give him that. I won't admit it to his face, but I will give him that publicly.
I'm going to send him this link, eh?
yeah.
And check out minute 10.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Well, I've asked to marry his daughter, so, he has to like me now. But so him and I are going to do a bit of a video on the glow bites. And coming into spring now, that I believe they are going to be really effective out towards the Mercs there. I'm quite looking forward to seeing different colors and different weights. So we're going to be a video that will be on our YouTube channel. So if you want to see a video there, make sure you look up Unable Semen on YouTube and have a bit of a look at that.
I've just looked at these lures. Sorry, I'm just checking them out on the old Google.
No, for sure.
So they look like a fancy version of a slow jig.
They are. So they essentially, they are a slow jig. And they have a unique feature in them that they actually glow. So they have two little
like eyes.
Yeah. They have two little sort of pieces of metal that connect. They finish the circuit in the salt water. They start flashing, and that flashing is obviously designed to attract fish. Really interesting article in the latest fishing magazine comparing soft baits and slow jigs, bro. Run us through what you've had most luck with in the past, and where have you sort of found they've been most effective?
I reckon, so from my experience so far, with the slow jigs, that's what I've used more of probably because they tend to be great for like a lazy drift where you just put it in Mr. Cast out your lure, let it sink to the bottom, you put the rod in Mr. R holder.
R holder's caught a lot of fish on my boat.
Yeah, Mr. R holder.
Fish beat 10 to 1.
Exactly. And you just like forget about it. And then all of a sudden your line starts taking off and just the rocking of the boat jiggles those little rubbery skirts and magical. And to be honest, in Durban Island, we were using 150 and 200 gram Lacanus and slow jigs. And 80 to 100 meters. Oh, actually, right up to 120 meters. Yeah. And they get down to the bottom, no problem, eh?
Oh,
yeah. So they're really good for that deep and lazy fishing. the soft baits I find are better for, like up to 20 meters and active fishing where you're casting into whitewash and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't actually get a lot of that in Wellington, to be fair.
No, you wouldn't.
So, nah, a lot of our snapper are in the shallow stuff, like, that 40, 50 meters easily plus. So that's why I tend towards the slow jigs and jigs.
Yeah. It's interesting
Yeah.
too. So this coming into spring, as I mentioned, I think slow jigs and soft baits do start to come into their own as those fish sort of tend to school more. Interesting thing though, I've been looking at, I've been watching, I've in fact read an article in the fishing magazine with our friends Mig and Scott from what's it called, from Fishing
Fishing
and
and
Adventure.
adventure.
Yep, sorry, Drew had a blank there. And they were on the old dirty bait and burley and talking about that, and I thought that was really cool. And
Nothing wrong with bait and burley,
then
man. I
oh
drink
man,
that.
what and I think in winter you cannot beat that. And I think even coming into now there was still a place for getting land based, and this is where I want to mention
I'd argue that it's pretty sweet just to go, to the pie shop, get a bit of fuel, and rock into the bakery, get your mince and cheese pie while you're getting your bait and burley, from the fuel station. There's something to be said for that process.
oh yep, and as you say, it's you have to put the time in and get the tides right, get burley, and but it's such a reward when that
Yeah.
comes good. And I want to do a bit of a plug here for a really cool YouTube channel I'm enjoying called The Lateral Line. You may know them previously from Big Angry Fish. They've started a new YouTube channel. And what I like about it, bro, is they've stripped away all the crap, I'm going to call it. And I don't mean
Are they
that being
taking our
nasty.
bloody ethos for what we
yeah,
want? No,
yeah,
no sponsors. Who needs
yeah. Who
sponsors?
needs sponsors? Yeah, if you're listening, want to sponsor us? We're not that anti it, but
We're actually, yeah, yeah,
but
we're okay.
I've used the word. I don't mean crap in the sense the show was crap. I just mean all the extra stuff. Now it's just them with a phone on the rocks doing exactly that, just with a bit of bait, bit of burley, and fishing their feet. And I've really got a soft spot for that recently, bro, and it's something I really want to get into a bit
Yeah, I'm
more
just
of.
checking them out
Obviously,
right now.
yeah. Well, obviously we both have boats and we love getting out there, but watching that has given me a new appreciation. So those two, like I say, reading that article from Meg and Scott, and then watching that channel have really sort of given me a bit of a hankering to get onto the old bait man, the old stump puller rod, that he
Yeah,
bit of like a bit of old bloody pine tree, flick it
you
out and
got you
just
got one of those. You got plenty of those lying around next
plenty of
to you.
those lying around, mate. You use the old broomstick as
Yeah, that's the
but
one.
but as you
Chuck on
say,
that
it's
old torso. Where you go?
you hang out there with a box of bears or something, and away you go. So um, and as we're talking about summer missions, there's plenty of jigging and lure fishing I want to get into, but I definitely want to have one. And I think you're coming up Labour weekend. We maybe talk about this off air, but
Yeah.
that's where we need to have a dirty bait fish. And I'm thinking
Uh,
Parangaranga up north,
holy stock! Hell yeah!
up
Yeah.
in the shallows on the boat, and then there's some deeper pins too, which I'd be keen to hit.
Oh, I know we're talking. See, I love that. And Parangaranga Harbour, sort of where that big old angry fish used to hang out. Quite a lot. Quite a few of the episodes were based up there.
Yep, in fact I've seen a lot of fishing shows up there, and well, I mean it just fishing shows are the greatest thing, aren't they? It's like living vicariously through it, and you sit in your wet living room on a Sunday afternoon, and it's about 8 degrees outside, and you watch
Yep.
these guys in summer, and it just gives you such a rush. So that is us. That is our next mission coming forward, and we will definitely record that and put that on our on the YouTube channel there.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, hopefully we'll actually catch some fish and not tie too many knots and lose too much gear.
Yeah,
Which,
well, that's
do a
exactly.
bit of
I mean,
that.
yeah, we definitely do a bit of that. Hey, bro, another thing I want to talk about is a bit of a
Mm-hmm.
mission moving forward, an idea for a video, and I haven't talked to you about this yet. So, listeners, you
This
are
is,
getting Christian's reaction firsthand. So maybe
oh
we are a
man.
boating and fishing podcast. We've talked about fishing. I want to move into
Uh-huh.
sailing. Now, we have a pretty big event coming up early
What's
next
that?
year, which of course is the America's Cup.
Oh yeah, sailing.
Now,
Yep, yep.
here's our challenge. This is something we're going to film, and I've got another couple of boys on board as well. Last year, we filmed a race between a scooter and a
This is
laser
right.
from Coromandel
Yep.
to from Auckland to Coromandel. And we filmed it all, and it will be on our YouTube channel very shortly. We're trying to edit it. There was 300 gig of footage, believe it or not. So editing
Yep.
has been quite the headache. And thank you,
And
Ari.
I lost the audio.
Yeah, oh,
on
yes, you
my
lost a lot of
side.
the audio. Yes, so
Yeah.
Christian did his best to butcher things. Ari, if you're listening, thank you for all your help so far with that. That's coming soon. Our next big mission, though,
Yep.
what we need to work out is how long a leg in the old America's Cup style boats took. When I say the old style, I'm talking about the 2000s, like the hula hull.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's sort of the
there's who are the key ones there? Because we had Dean Barker versus our old skipper.
Russell Coates.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
say that era. So
yeah.
Steinlager.
Yeah,
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 okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we need to work out how long it took them to do a leg. Either I'm thinking an upwind leg. Okay.
Okay. Yeah,
We are
like 3
then.
days.
Yeah, well, compared to today's ones, and this is you're going to
Yeah,
find out why I've picked that era in a minute.
no.
Our mission's going to be we're going to put $100 each in, so a
Mhm.
total of $400. We're going to
Oh,
buy.
there's 4 of us.
There are going to be 4 of us,
Yep.
and we're going to buy a second-hand yacht, whatever we can get for that money. $400 is not a huge budget.
This is
And
going to buy a garden ornament.
we are going to create something that, and our mission will be to do a leg in the same time that those America's Cup boats from the early 2000s did a leg in. Keeping in mind that we will now have all the benefit of the technology 20 years since those America's Cup boats raced.
Well, so you want me to like modify this thing so it like
We're
goes
going to
faster
modify it.
than...
We're going to modify it. We're going to make a boat that can beat early 2000s America's Cup boat.
These
The
things,
budget's going to
even
be
in the
$400.
2000s, were like the state of the art, man.
They were state of the art then, but we're 2020 now. We've moved on. We might not have the budget, but we've got the
20 years,
innovation.
we're
We've
still
got the
using piston
learnings.
engines. We're still using piston engines.
We're
Not
not allowed
much
to use
has changed.
a
Yeah, we've
lot's
got
changed.
broadband.
Carbon fibers. We've got
They had
foiling
carbon fiber
boats.
back then.
Okay,
Okay,
well,
they
we're
were...
trying to make a
Yeah,
point
but
here.
back then they weren't flying, and now they're flying. Yep.
Okay,
No,
so
I'll
we
give
can
you that.
fly. I mean, I'm sure
They're
we
the
can fly.
same people sailing them, though. In all fairness,
Yeah, well, we were.
like I'm pretty sure Dean Barker isn't he sailing for the Japanese team, or he was in the
Yeah,
last
he
American
is.
Cup?
He is, I believe. He's out in the country now. So we are just, as an aside, we are really excited for that regatta, and definitely will be
Yeah, man.
doing
I
some
hope you're
podcasts
not gonna be like
directly.
my mate. You're gonna actually keep a spot on the boat for me.
Yes, of course, I'm going to keep a spot on the boat for you, and listeners, we are going to be doing certainly plenty of episodes based around that at the time. But that is our next big mission. Now, this is probably going to be filmed around December. We need to get a few things lined up.
Yeah,
I need
yeah.
to work timetables and everything. But that is our next big video. What do you think, bro?
It sounds like you're gonna send this heap of crap down to my garage, and you're gonna say, "Christian, make it work." That's what it sounds like. I know you. I know this. I can
Well, okay. One of the other guys who's keen is Tim. You know Tim. He's the
Yeah,
one who
Tim's
helped me.
he's quite handy. Yeah, yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking. You guys are quite handy, and I'm like a big sky idea. So I'll come up with all these fantastic ideas, which will be
And
absolutely world beating. And you're an
we'll
engineer.
say,
He's a builder. I'm a PE teacher, so I can coordinate.
you can coordinate.
I can tell you what
Far
to
out.
do.
Oh,
I can teach you how to swim if it sinks.
yeah, you can. Yeah. Are you going to fund it too with us? Or
Yeah, well, I'll chuck the money in.
$400, is that going to include all the costs of making this thing like go faster? Or we're talking about details later.
We may have to. Yeah, we may have to reach into it. But the thing is that we don't want to put too much money into it because we're all poor and
Yeah, like
houses.
you're a first time owner.
Yeah,
I just bought a house too.
yeah. Tim's doing up a house.
My partner, my partner wants me, old Chelsea, she wants me to do some modifications of his house. So yeah, I can understand where
Just
we're
buy
coming
more
from.
sharesies, man, and make heaps of money. Yeah.
Oh, yes, yes.
So anyway, that's upcoming. So we will keep you obviously posted with that on all
I am so
things.
keen.
And that won't be till later in the summer, but we'll certainly talk about updates on that in the future episodes. Hey, bro, I think it is time for our dog of the week.
Oh,
So Well, in fact, I'll let you go first because you've got your one open, ready to go.
Oh, yes, I do.
And you're going to share the
So,
screen. So again, listeners, while Christian's organising that,
battling with how I do this.
if you wish to see these boats we're talking about, there's two ways you can find this now. You can either follow us at Unable Semen, where we post fairly regularly, and obviously all the pictures of the things we're going to talk about there will be uploaded. Of course, as mentioned earlier, we now have a YouTube channel. Woohoo! So this video of us talking will be there as well. Now, I've just realized I'm wearing the same sweatshirt I wore in the last video. Yes, I do have other ones, and yes, this
No, you
has been
don't.
washed in
Yeah,
between. Of
I can't
course,
believe
we
it.
are screen sharing, so you can see what Christian is about to share as well, his dog of the month.
Yeah. Hey, I got a thing to say to you, bro. You haven't let me share screen.
Oh,
You've
okay.
like got that the host hasn't enabled that stuff. It's like you don't want to see what this awesome that I've got for you.
There we go. I've done that now for you. Sorry, listeners, bit of
Oh,
admin
thank you,
there
thank
as
you, thank you,
we
thank you, thank you.
try and get around some of the things. While Christian is doing that, I want to bring your listeners' attention to the latest fishing news. Now, we've talked about this a little bit last time, which was outboard comparisons. Now, Christian, there's a really interesting article here about two identical senators that were made in Hamilton
Yo,
here. And here's the really interesting thing. One put a single 300 Yamaha,
yes.
okay, and the other boat put a set of twin 200s. So identical. So this is the ultimate comparison. Now, quick guess. What do you think is more fuel efficient, the single 300 or the twin 200s?
Oh, see, I was a little bit surprised here. I I thought that the single 300 would be a whole lot more efficient.
Yeah, and the reality is
The other way around, the
no.
twin 200.
The reality is it is, but not by a lot. So at 5
No,
knots,
oh, yeah, okay, I see what you
so,
mean. In terms of, but the top speed, like when you both compared the top speed of both of them, the twin 200s had a higher top speed than the other one. And
yeah,
if you then looked at the, what do you call it? You looked at the top speed of the 300 and matched that speed up with the twin 200s, the 200s were actually more fuel efficient.
they were. So to give you some numbers for the listeners,
Yeah, get a bit
the
ready.
top
Yeah.
speed for the twin 200s was 40 kilometers an hour. Oh, sorry, 40 knots, I should say. And it had a fuel consumption of 147 litres an hour. The 300 ran out of puff at 33 knots and was doing
Yeah.
101 litres per hour. So a little bit hard to compare, but the main one for most of our listeners, hopefully hardcore fishermen and fisherwomen and fisher people, as you got to say in 2020, is
Yo.
2,000 RPM, 8.5 knots.
Well, why is that
15,
important?
well, that is trolling speed, isn't it? For marlin.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Hey, you're getting,
Okay.
while I'm doing this, you're getting that screen sorted, remember?
Yeah, I got sorted down. Oh, you want me to
Okay.
bring it up?
Yeah, you got to bring it up so we can actually see
Yeah.
it. Okay, so 8.5 knots, 15.4 litres for the twin 200s, 12 litres for the single. Oh my giddy aunt! Sorry, I have to take an absolute tangent here. What the hell have you shared there?
Okay, so I
Okay,
have got.
hang on. I know listeners can see this, but first impression, that is a really cool hull. That is a Haynes Hunter hull, and
Like the original Aussie, the Aussie one too. You know, like how they made them.
someone's put the top of a lighthouse on it, or a garden
They,
shed.
yeah, and they
19 and
want
a half
19.
grand.
Yeah,
19 and a
19.
half $1,000 of money. And look at that sea anchor on the back. Those Evinrude Ficht engines are only good as dead weights.
Yeah, but the positive is it's got a great hull.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I'm gonna go through. I'm going through the
why would you
photos.
take a beautiful V19 Haynes Hunter and do that to it?
It sort of looks like Donald Duck.
Oh, there is something serious.
Look at that. Look at this. Was it
Nineteen
what?
and a half thousand dollars.
Look at this
What?
angle here. Oh, lovely, eh? This here, this is like the rear quarter, and you can just see how spacious this hardtop is. Beautiful.
Oh,
For an E-Bird, probably needs it.
that is horrific.
How about that, eh?
That
How about
okay.
that?
So, listeners, you might remember Christian last time Christian shared a, in fact, his best one yet, which was a old Yamaha jet ski, which the engine had obviously failed on it, and someone had strapped a 9.9 Mercury to the back of it. Now, at least that had a little bit of ingenuity, and he'd taken something that was buggered, which was a jet ski, and the engine was obviously crapped out, and he'd done something with it. He probably should have just left, let it be. This guy has taken a really good Haynes Hunter hull, like one of the best hulls around, and put plywood. He just put a plywood shed on top.
Now I'm a bit gutted, but
a bit gutted.
You wanted what was it? Dog of the day.
That's dog of the day, all right. Okay, have you got another one there?
No, I don't. Sorry, man.
Okay.
The other ones I had, I'd saved to watch this, but happily that expired, and now you can't view them.
Okay, well, keeping with the theme, if you give me back those thing, I'll share.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen now.
I'll send you a link for that too, so you can throw that on Instagram.
Now, this following the same sort of theme here around well, really poor additions. Okay, now I just get in this load.
Are you sending it to me as a link or something?
I'm actually I'm actually just going to bring it up here on the screen. So if people are watching this video, they'll see all the other tabs I've got open. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Can you see my screen? Can you see the screen?
No, not yet.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, what we are looking at here now, Christian, can you see that?
No.
Is a 1981 Sea Ray 260 Sundancer. Now, Sea Rays, beautiful looking boats. In fact, with my Bayliner eye, which I obviously like American boats.
So if I type in Sundancer and Trade Me, I'll see
Sea Ray 260 1981, you will find it. I'll let the listeners.
Okay. So for some reason our screen sharing ain't working, but that's okay.
Yeah, here it is. There we go.
260. You say 260.
You should have that screen shared now. Okay, so see, American boats.
Oh.
So first impression. Give me your first impression.
You couldn't give it to me.
Okay.
$35,000 for a 1981.
Where do people get these prices from? Do they just pick a number out of their ass?
I can't scroll it. Can you scroll down for me so I can see some more of this crap? No, I want to see. Oh no, that is a terrible angle.
But the thing is, okay. Look at this is the back of the hardtop. So Sea Ray design good looking boats as a whole. Are they the most functional? Are they the most well made? That's up for debate. But they're normally pretty good looking. They got that whole Miami Vice, long bow, sleek looking thing. Someone has whacked what can only be described as an observatory.
I was going to say a chest of drawers.
yeah. Look at that back. Oh, they've tried to make a pilot house out of like a sports boat, and
it's all like veneer, oak veneer wood. It just reminds me of an antique store.
Oh,
that is gross, mate. That is just, and it's like they use just aluminium that are riveted together and then stuck a bit of, I don't know, perspex in there. That has to be one of the most hideous, expensive pieces of crap I've seen.
That's the thing, bro. It's expensive. That's a good. I mean, that boat without the observatory on top the glass house, I should say. Well, that boat without that is actually not a bad looking boat. It's an early '80s Sea Ray, and they're not for everyone, but they're not a bad looking boat.
Like an old
the motor is the least of its worries. The motor is really 5.7 Mercury.
Oh, I just couldn't imagine anything
Imagine towing that. Imagine the windage towing that. Imagine if that hardtop detached on State Highway 1 and flew into the front of you. You'd die of laughter, not of any injuries inflicted of it.
I'm looking at it just thinking, wow.
Okay.
Hopefully no one buys that and they just write it off.
Oh.
Think of the poor landfill that's going to accept that crap. But that's okay. It's okay. Each their own. You know. Yeah. Hey, we can't talk. Hey, what have you got and what have I got?
Exactly. Now, bro, before we go, we
Mm-hmm.
have to talk about this. This is, I would like to stress, this is not a dog of the month. This is a new release, which
You're gonna share
now
again, are you?
and I'm going to share the screen again and have a look at that, mate. Now, you know I used to work for Tristram, and
Oh,
we're not going to talk about that. But what
damn.
we are going to talk about is that new 821 offshore.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of the best looking boats on the market at the moment.
Mm-hmm. That
I,
is
that is
very,
a
very nice.
amazing piece of design. I watched
Yeah.
the video on all the interior layouts. Some really clever ideas there. I've got to give credit where it's due there.
What do you
Um,
reckon that's worth?
couldn't tell you, to be fair. The pricing, the boat's only been out about 2 weeks at the stage, so
It's their biggest one, eh? It's their biggest
it,
boat.
yes, well, their biggest model is the 881. Now, I don't know if that shares a hull. I don't think it does share a hull because there's a sort of raised share line on this, which I don't believe the 881 has.
Right.
But they have done some really cool stuff here. One of them
This has
now is
got to
that
be
it's,
300 plus thousand, man.
I would only be guessing.
Yeah.
If you want to have a look at this, this will be on our Instagram at Unable Semen, or jump on the Tristram website, have a bit of a look. I'll give them a plug there. Diesel stern drive option and twin outboards. Now the twin outboards, of course, we've just spoken about, not as efficient as the single outboard setup. However, these ones here, and a lot of new outboards now, have got this thing called the iPilot, or the joystick
Yo, this
type
is
setup,
me.
which we spoke about on a previous podcast. So we probably won't go too much into that today, but amazing to see what's happening here. So really
It
cool.
makes it basically makes anyone look like a pro when it comes to maneuvering a boat low speed around a
Yeah.
jetty.
So, bro, here we are. Gun to your head. In our
Yeah.
very first podcast, we had the challenge, and we
Yeah.
both fell in love with the Dickey. I think it was the 750 custom, and
Yes.
was it the 850
Yes.
custom? Either way, it was a
Yes.
Dickey trailable hardtop. Gun to your
Yeah.
head, with all the listeners listening, with our 151.
Oh, this is I know where you're going. This is quite
Do you buy the Tristram 821,
Uh-huh.
or do you stick with that Dickey, which we both loved?
Okay. Do you want to know this now, or we save that for the next
No, I
podcast?
want to know this right now. There's a gun to your head, mate. The gunman's not going to wait till the next podcast.
Okay.
Neither are our
Oh
listeners.
no, I'm going to go for the boat from Napier.
You can have Dickey.
Yeah, it's an alloy boat that looks fiberglass, and I just love a plumb bow. You know me. Oh, I just love a plumb bow. I quite like a bit of plumb bow.
Bro, I totally agree with you. I love the Dickey to absolute bits, and I do love the closed hard top of that. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, look, if I had to take the Tristram instead, I would certainly be a happy man. But yeah, I would have to go with the Dickey as well. But that is taking nothing away from the Tristram. That is a very, very cool boat. And
Yeah, like you wouldn't be upset if you ended up choosing that, eh?
no. Now we should also mention, just quickly before we wrap up too, that obviously COVID this year, we're back into lockdowns. It's buggered a lot of things. The boat show was canned. Then I see a lot of manufacturers were doing their own sort of shows. So I see Ray Glass were doing an open day thing at their factory, which unfortunately has been pushed back again. So if you are looking for something to do with boats, and go and sort of jump on a few, keep an eye on those boat websites. So Ray Glass, Tristram, I'm sure Haynes Hunter will probably be doing something, and they will have open days when Auckland gets rid of COVID and you can start doing these things again. I'm quite keen to go to a couple. I might even take the camera along and see
What ones?
what's what. I'm quite keen on the Ray Glass one, man. There's that 3500, which we ripped a bit in that first podcast.
Yeah, but it was an older one too.
Yeah. But I am keen to have a look at that close up. I mean, our judgment was made purely on we liked it, but we just wasn't quite there for us. And again,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
were judging with not ever been on one, so it probably says more about
Oh,
us.
you're gonna put some,
I'm
actually
actually going
some
to put
effort
a
in.
bit of science into it. I'm going to actually climb aboard and see if it's up to the high Jake Kerr standards.
Put your greasy mitts all over it and say, "Oh, sir, can I play with
Exactly, yeah, and pretend I'm going to buy one.
this?" You'll see. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah. When you turn up in your like Toyota Corolla, you'll see straight through
yeah, exactly. Hey, look, bro, it's been another fantastic podcast. Thank you for joining me again, and thank you to our listeners who are joining in again. Please give us some feedback either through Instagram or some feedback on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or of course now on YouTube. We are keen to know what you want to hear, and if you think we're getting better at this. I think our audio should hopefully be better.
Yeah.
Um,
Hey, question: do we really care what they think, or do we just want to keep talking shit about what we like?
I hope
There's a question for you.
I hope there's a mutual sort of thing of both. To be
Mutual.
fair, I mean, I hope people like listening to what we have to say. I mean, we've always said all along, we are not experts at boating and
Nah,
fishing. We're just
no
two guys
way.
who are keen and like talking about it. And I actually think people like that because I said earlier, I love sitting on a wet, rainy day watching fishing shows. People who are, I mean, I could do that. I could drive to Coromandel and cast off the rocks. Any
Mm-hmm.
weekend, I'm watching the show. Instead, I'm sitting on my ass in front of the heat pump, watching people, living vicariously through that. So I think people do like listening to us talk
Other
about
people's yarns.
boats and our opinions. And hopefully, this is where it'd be really cool if you guys could reach out to us and give us some feedback. Hopefully, you guys want to comment on anything we've talked about. We'd love to hear it and obviously have some interaction with our listeners. Next
Mm-hmm.
time, we're hoping to have a guest, or certainly in an upcoming podcast.
You mean
On,
not just me?
yeah, well, yeah, hopefully someone a little bit more qualified than you. In fact, if I could sub them out for you, it'd be even better. We will leave that as a little bit of a tease because well,
We
we've still
don't know
actually
if
got to
we've got them
organise
yet.
it. Yeah. And we might, and it'd be embarrassing if they said no, and we'd have to find someone else.
Yeah, that'd be all good. And then you would
But
get your mum on.
yeah, and she could tell you
Famously
about
done,
my
yeah.
first fishing experience. Anyway, as I mentioned, thank you once again to all our listeners who have tuned in. Just another quick plug for our social channels at Unable Semen on Instagram, on Apple Podcasts, Unable Semen, Spotify, same name, and of course now on YouTube. Give us a follow, give us a like, and give us feedback. Bro, it's been a pleasure as always. Thank you so much, and we will see you in a month's time. Haere rā.
I mean,